everyone! So today I'm going to share with you my top 5 least favorite things about Japan. Now, before I get into the list, I just want to say that overall, I think Japan is a great country and I'm happy to live here. So I don't want you to think that I think Japan is a bad country, because that is not the case. I really like Japan. Honestly, if anything, most of these are just minor inconveniences or nuisances. They're not anything major, except perhaps the first one, but we'll get into that. So let's start off with number 5. So number 5 is the walking and driving etiquette in Japan, or the lack thereof. So there's a lot of etiquette in Japan when it comes to many things. Eating, visiting someone. There's even etiquette when using an escalator. However, walking and driving, there really is no etiquette. I find it very surprising. So, for example, I feel like in the United States, generally, people tend to walk in one direction on one side and walk in one direction on the other side. You know, kind of like you're driving. But in Japan, it's not like that. It's like everybody walks wherever they want and it just gets all messed up. Also, for driving, there are sidewalks, but they're not really sidewalks. It's kind of more like a breakdown lane on streets. I'll try and insert a picture so you get an idea. I'm not 100% sure what it's actually meant for. I had assumed it was for people walking, but people park their cars there, people walk there, people ride their bikes there. So it causes a lot of trouble. So if, there's cars parked in this lane, then you have to walk around them, and then now you're in the street. It's not very good. Also, I've almost been run over many times, and there have been a lot of traffic accidents because there doesn't seem to be any etiquette. When you take your driver's test, they don't test you on your driving ability per se. They test you on your ability to follow directions, if that makes sense. So, did you remember to check for cats before you got in the car? It's more about the ritual. I don't get it. But again, it's just a minor thing, so whatever. Alright, number 4. There's concrete everywhere! Why? Why is there concrete everywhere? It's like they have something against trees and nature. Like, they want to cover everything with concrete. So I live in a town that's considered the country, but it looks like a city because there's concrete everywhere. There's no space between the houses. I mean, I do live in an old part of the town where the old style of houses are on top of each other, and we don't really have a yard. Like, we have a little courtyard, but I don't know. So like, even when someone has a garden, it's basically their driveway, and they put a couple of potted plants on it instead of like an actual garden with dirt. I'm from the United States. I'm from Massachusetts, and I'm from a town where there are lots of trees. We have a huge backyard, a forest in the backyard, like a little brook. So I'm used to having nature around me. So living in like a city kind of place, a city-esque, a city-style town is just, I don't know, I don't really like it. Don't get me wrong, I do really love my town that I live in. It's a very charming town. And there's a really beautiful park here, but I don't want to have to walk to the park every time I want to like put my feet in grass or whatever. Number 3, Japan is super slow to change. I feel like when people think of Japan, they think of all the technological things coming from here, like video games and stuff, and that's true to an extent, but Japan itself actually is not that advanced. For example, this is still predominantly a cash-based society, so people still use paper money and coins. There are a lot of places that do not accept credit cards here. Don't like carrying around paper money or coins. Coins are heavy, bulky. I don't really care for it, but that's how it is. Also, they still use hankos here. Hankos are a name stamp instead of a signature, and personally I feel like they're kind of outdated. I think using a signature is more efficient, but you know, that's my opinion. So the reason for this is because Japan's population, the majority of the population is over the age of 65. So older people tend to be more set in their ways and not really willing to change. So that is a contributing factor to it. Number 2 is food. Now, I know what you're saying, but you said food was in your top 5. It was, when it comes to lunch and dinner. But when it comes to breakfast and dessert, it doesn't make the cut. Or foreign food, for that matter. In Japan, their traditional breakfast is like leftover dinner, or rice with a raw egg and miso soup. That's their breakfast. When you go out for breakfast, you can find other things than that, like French toast, or what you think is gonna be French toast, but actually it's more like French toast pizza. They put corn and sauce and weird things on it. Or hot dogs. Hot dogs for breakfast? I can see having sausage for breakfast, but no. They want hot dogs for breakfast. And salad. Not fruit salad. Regular green salad for breakfast. I can't do it. Also, most of their desserts taste like cardboard. And I know it's because in America we put tons and tons of sugar in our sweets, and I get that. So I understand, like, I'm used to something more sweet, and I get that. But also they have, like, red bean paste, which I just don't like the consistency of, or the texture, or the taste. I don't like it. And the representation of foreign food is not good. There's no Mexican food here. I think there might be a Taco Bell in Tokyo, but I don't live anywhere near Tokyo. I'm out in the middle of nowhere, so there's no Mexican food here at all. However, there are those El Paso taco kits at Yamiya, which is a liquor/import store. So you can get that, which is good, and you know, that kind of satisfies my craving for Mexican food, but I wish there was a little bit more than just that. Yeah, there's really not much like Western food here other than hamburger. And their version of a hamburger or hamburger steak is like a hamburger with sauce on it, but no bread or cheese. Or sometimes there's cheese. I don't know. I don't like it. Okay. Anyway, let's get into number 1. So number 1 is the work culture. I think the work culture is really debilitating in Japan, and it's causing a lot of problems. And personally, I think it's something that really needs to change. The work culture in Japan is that you're expected to do overtime. Like, it's not an, even though it's an option, it's really not an option. You're expected to do it, and people do it. They have to do it. So the average work week for a Japanese person is like 70 hours. That's the average. They usually work Saturdays. Sundays are supposed to be a day off, but sometimes they even work on Sundays. They put in long hours, and to be honest, I don't feel like it is a good thing. They say there is no work-life balance in Japan. So I think this aspect of Japanese culture makes it difficult to live here, especially as a foreigner. You're not used to such long, grueling hours. You don't have time for a social life. It's because of this it's causing other problems in Japan. Like I said, majority of Japanese people are 65 and older, so the population is decreasing, and that is because of this non-existent personal times. Also probably one of the contributing factors as to why the suicide rate is so high in Japan. Japan has a very high suicide rate, which is really sad. I've only worked for one Japanese company, and that was at a school, and I can tell you that it's not a good thing. I didn't enjoy it at all. I'm not someone who suffers from anxiety normally, but when I worked at that job, I had such excruciating anxiety, like constant upset stomach. I would throw up or have to go to the bathroom a lot. Just, I had to do things to get through that. And it's not even just the long hours that are the problem. It's sometimes you can get a manager who is not a nice person. They don't talk to you nicely. They don't treat you with respect because you're an employee. You're a cog in the wheel, and they don't care. They don't care at all. So I'm going to be honest, if I still had to work at that company or a company like that in Japan, I wouldn't want to live here. But I'm super fortunate that I can work from home at a company that's not Japanese. And please don't misunderstand me. I'm not saying every company is like this. My husband is fortunate enough to work for a company that's really great, that's amazing, that treats him so well, and they have mutual respect for each other. So there are definitely some companies here that are great, that are good, but unfortunately there are many that are not. Yeah, Japan has gotten itself in a tough situation because now that the population is decreasing, they don't really have a choice now with the overtime. I'm not sure what's going to happen. So anyway, those are the 5 things I don't like about Japan, and I just want to say again, most of them are just minor, not a big deal. I overall love living in Japan, mostly because I don't have to work for a Japanese company. However, I do think Japan is a great place to visit. If you want to visit an Asian country, or if you want to go somewhere, come to Japan. It's a great place to visit. Highly, highly, highly recommend it. Working here, maybe not so much. That's everything. I'll see you next time. Bye.